Wait.
Peace, light, and love, family. 1212, Gorilla Elite, bulletproof, nothing but the truth. So, I got to give it to you, family. Here's my final analysis and hot picks for today's matchup, today's boxing match. History in the making, history going down in the books. Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn. You feel me? The buildup has been crazy. Now I'm just going to give you what I have discovered through my hardcore research on both fighters during the build-up and, past fights, my analysis. You feel me? And then you can go ahead and put your picks in after this. And I'm pretty sure, after this, you will have definitely a better look on what to put your money on, you feel me? On how to invest so you can get like a good profit back, you feel me? So let's start off with the build-up and the personal space between the two. When we look at Chris Eubank Jr., we see in his build-up that it's not looking too good. He already told you that he was already going to be 60%. He's only going to be at 60%. I don't know if he's trying to give out clues on he's just not going to have that great of a performance, or he just plan on going a distance and just outboxing the hell out of Conor Benn. That might be a hint right there. Also, we see that when you just look at his personal space right now, he already got fined $50,000 for the egg smack. Already got fined $100K for not making weight. Was willing to lose $1 million to Eddie Hearn. You feel me? And then also his pop's not going to be in his corner in one of the biggest fights of his career. That got to be mentally effing with him as well. So right now it looks like he's like he said, and also we heard from one of the announcers. He said, "Hey, if I don't win this fight, I'm done with the sport of boxing." So maybe this is like, his way out. This, you're just going to end it with this, a legacy fight right here. End it with that and say, hey, we did a good job. We put on a show. I got my bread. I got my paycheck. I got fined a couple times. I'm not really care about it. We got other things going on in my life at this point in time. And then, maybe he's out. You feel me? So from the outside looking in, we see his personal space during the buildup just doesn't look that well. On the other hand, Conor Benn, when we look at his personal space during the build-up, looks like it might be going out better for him. He distanced himself. He went onto a hardcore training camp. Everyone knows, he's coming up 2 weights. You feel me? He seems like he's extremely locked in. Eddie Hearn told us that he said he want to get him out of there in 2 rounds. So that might give you a hint of his game plan already. And he's pretty much not getting the props he should be getting for moving up 2 weights, and a lot of people are trying to say, oh, he's going to be exposed, this, that, and the third. I don't even know what they mean he's going to be exposed. Are they trying to say because his resume and his competition wasn't like that? And I mean, style make fights, so it don't matter who you fight. You feel me? Canelo was fighting tomato cans for a while. I think the only fights are noticeable since Mayweather was his Laura fight, Angola fight, Caleb Plant, and all the other fights. Not saying they're tomato cans, but they're just not really household names when it comes to the sport of boxing, or like notable people. You know what I mean? Up there, they're up there in the ranks, but they just don't have really a brand. You feel me? So they're not really considered big fights. So his next big fight is obviously going to be Crawford. That's going to bring him the money. But yeah, so still, when you look at Conor Benn, even though he's coming up 2 weights, people are like, oh man, his power's not there because he came up 2 weights. He hasn't got no knockouts. You don't have to get the knockout to win all the time. You feel me? You don't need a knockout to win all the time. And we've seen in Conor fights, even in the later rounds, he is still an extremely sharp power puncher who has a lot of output, and that's accurate. And the last 2 guys that he fought never been stopped. One guy had 4 losses. He's an extremely durable guy. He was taking all types of shots, and we seen his head flicking left and right, up, down, when Conor Benn was touching him up. You feel me? And I'm pretty sure that's the hardest he probably got hit in his career. And the other guy that he recently fought was a technician guy. He's never been stopped or dropped either. He was undefeated. And even in the later rounds, you still see Conor Benn with those sharp, hard punches, punching with extreme intentions. You feel me? And they're sharp, and a lot of them were accurate, and that's why he won that fight by decision. So the power is definitely still there, and even if the power isn't really there. He's still the sharper puncher out of the two, compared to Chris at least. So with that being said, yeah, we're looking at this from that point, the technical skill-wise point. We look at that from that point of view. You can see that Chris should be a better boxer, right? Based off the skill level that he has come against. I think he slept on a veteran fighter and got knocked out, came back, revenged his loss or whatever. But he should have never been in that position to begin with. And the fact that the guy who knocked him out, though, is considered a heavy hitter, though. But most of his fights, I think he lost by, he got knocked out. I mean, he got stopped by Canelo with body shots and whatnot. So, I mean, it is what it is. He's a heavy hitter, so you got to give him that. But still, with Chris's experience, he shouldn't have, I don't know if he just was sleeping on that opponent. He shouldn't have even gotten the TKO, you feel me? And could have been an early stoppage from the ref. The refs, a lot of, overseas and in Europe, they stop in fights. You see how they go. They just stop in fights regardless. They have a lot of premature stoppages in their fights over there. And it could be based on the fact that they, want certain fighters to win or something like that. But stories for different days, right? So, skill-wise, Chris should be the better boxer, right? But we've seen him clipped and wobbled. But Conor is an intelligent pressure fighter, as I was saying, who is a sharper puncher than Chris, hands down. Even if Chris is a better boxer, a better outside fighter, Conor is still a better, sharper puncher. And now we have to take that fight that Conor had with a technician recently, a really technical boxer recently, who was a outstanding boxer, and we see how he handled him. You feel me? He was still sharp. He was knocking him up. Remember, he coming up, and he even looked smaller in that fight. This guy's coming up 2 weight classes. He looked smaller in his last 2 fights. The guys that he fought were much bigger than him, and he was still kind of knocking them off balance. And he was still had a heavy, very heavy output, very busy output in the later rounds. His punches still look sharp. Even when he gets tired, his punches still look sharp. That's the difference you got to understand when it comes to boxing too. Some boxers might be better technicians, but when you're coming against like a sharper puncher who has like just the same amount of boxing IQ as you got to be careful with that, especially if they're pressure punchers. You feel me? So based off how this fight is going to go, seeing the mind state of Chris from the outside, it looks like he might say, you know what? I don't care if I get knocked out. I'm going to go in there and pull my heart out. If he's going to go in there and fight like his life is on the line, it should go to distance, because we shouldn't have no premature stoppages. It should go to distance if we have a good ref. And then we'll see at that point, even with that, we still see Conor and Benn winning on points. Now, if Chris is going in there and saying, man, I'm just going to go in there and just, I don't even care. At this point, I just want to get it over with, because like I said, I already got paid 3 fines, and after this, if I lose this fight, I plan on, leaving the sport of boxing, probably. Allegedly, that's what, they said. That's what one of the announcers said. I heard one of the announcers say that. So with that being said, if he's coming in with that type of mindset, then yeah, he might get KO'd early inside of 4 or 5 rounds. You feel me? But if not, if he's coming in there to, just go all out, it should go to distance. But even if it goes to distance, Conor wins on points, guaranteed. So, but looking at the numbers here, they're looking at for Conor Benn to get him out of there, and that's where most of the money is right now. So your 2 options right there: Conor on points or Conor by stoppage. Those are your 2 options right there. And really, you just got to keep, if you can keep track of Chris's mindset, he's coming in there. I don't know, normally the guy who's talking the most is normally the guy who ends up losing for the most part. Had AB, had Tony Harrison, the talkers, even though they might be really good technical boxers, a lot of times they're the guys who end up losing. Not saying this because of all the smack they're talking, but you get a sense that a lot of times they're talking so much smack to get the nerves out And when they have a lot of nerves built up, that can mentally drain you and make you physically tired, and just physically drain you as well before you even step into the fight, which can cause you to lose the fight. I mean, that's all I got for right now, family. Peace, light, and love. I'm on to the next one.